UVI. We've had 3 full days so far. We've enjoyed them all, haven't we? And we're ready to go again. And Ms. Kent, if you're ready with the disclaimer, let us, right. Ms. Kent, if you're ready with the disclaimer, let us know. Otherwise,
Should be 1 second for her.
Okay,
you can go ahead and give her a minute.
So I'll continue. Yep. So for the last few days, we've heard from quite a few people, including some of our administrators here at UVI yesterday. And I hope you all have a really good sense of what it is to be a student here at UVI, because we're looking forward to, some of you at least, being students right here with us. And we will welcome you, welcome you, welcome you. I hope you got a feel as well for what we do at the School of Agriculture. You heard many presentations from the Cooperative Extension Service, where we do outreach. You heard about the experiment station and what they do within their area. You also heard about the SARE program, which leads to my next question. We had some homework a few days ago, and I wonder how many of us did something about that. You recall we spoke about the SARE program? Anybody? And we asked of you to take a look on the website we shared and find out who the SARE coordinators are in your respective areas. How many of you did that? Okay, Sarah did. Thank you, Sarah. Let's hear from you. Tell us, what did you find out?
So in Connecticut, there's really only one main coordinator, and I don't want to mispronounce his name, but his name is Joe Bonelli.
Thank you. Thank you for following up, Sarah, and finding that out. And as I mentioned to all of you, I'm the coordinator here in the US Virgin Islands. And what we do as coordinators is to make sure the public knows about the SARE program. We also, as our title implies, coordinate the activities in our states, whether it's research, outreach, or both, to make sure that the work of the SARE program gets done. So congrats, Sarah. Anybody else? Yes, yes, yes. Anybody else? Nobody? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to give Sarah a special gift just for being such a standout person. You remember we had some books that we promoted from our School of Agriculture, including one that was called The Tropical Fruits of the US Virgin Islands. Would you like to have a copy of that, Sarah?
I mean, that would be great, but you don't have to, I promise. It's okay.
That's okay. It's on me. So we're going to put one in your package we're going to be sending to you, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And that's what you get for just being a standout person, a follow-up person, and just doing what we've asked of you to do. So congrats, Sarah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Kent, are you ready to go? Just let me know. Okay, so today, although we haven't started that as yet, I want you to get an overview of today. A few days ago, one of you asked, I think it was Adrian, but one of you asked a question, and the question had to do with what was my thinking of technology in agriculture. What did I think technology would do or do to support agriculture? And my response, if you recall, had a lot to do with, I'm thinking that technology properly applied in agriculture is simply going to make us smarter, a smarter agricultural system. And I gave some examples. Remember those? I spoke about drones, I spoke about other things. And today, once we get going, you're going to get even more of a sense of what that means in terms of how technology applied in agriculture can help to make life easier, better for all of us. And of course, make operations more efficient for farmers, especially when it comes to robotics in technology, robotics in agriculture. There are so many times when robotics are applied to our benefit, but we just don't even know that. We simply don't know. One of the examples I love to give is when you walk into the grocery stores and you see all those apples and oranges nicely bagged up. No one person stopped and did that. Machines did that. So that's an application of technology in agriculture that we take for granted. And today, once we get going, Mr. Joseph is going to tell us much more about how that is done, those type of technologies. Ms. Kent, are you ready as yet?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Okay, great. So Ms. Kent is going to read for us our disclaimer. Please go ahead, Ms. Kent.
In accordance with federal law and U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, Civil Rights Regulations and Policies, UVI School of Agriculture is prohibited from discriminating on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, age, disability, and reprisal or retaliation for prior civil rights activity. Program information may be made available in languages other than English. Persons with disabilities who require alternative means of communication for program information, e.g., Braille, large print, audio tape, and American Sign Language, should contact the UVI School of Agriculture at 340-692-4090 or USDA's Target Center at 202-720-2600, voice and TTY, or contact USDA through the Federal Relay Service at 800-877-8339. To file a program discrimination complaint, a complainant should complete a Form AD-3027 USDA Program Discrimination Complaint Form, which can be obtained online at www.ocio.usda.gov/document/AD-3027 from any USDA office by calling 866-632-9992 or by writing a letter addressed to USDA.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. And before we get going any further, I just want to express our appreciation to our USDA APHIS sponsors for making, not just today and not just this week, but for the past 5 years, making the UVI AgDiscovery program such a success. And Dr. Benoit, you have been with us every single day. As much as your schedule is a busy one, I know. But I want to mention that Dr. Benoit, of course, works with APHIS, our sponsor, and we appreciate her presence with us each and every day. Thank you, Dr. Benoit.
It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And Ms. Durand, our coordinator, if you have anything to share, please do so. I know you put something in the chat about cameras on today. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to just thank everybody for being here, all the participants for actually being engaged and remaining engaged. And we really want to encourage everyone to keep your cameras on, because seeing that we're in a Zoom setting, that's one way that we can make better connections with each other, see each other's faces, see our emotions, reactions. So make sure to stay engaged. If you have questions, always feel free to put them in the chat, but we highly encourage you to just unmute yourself and ask questions throughout the presentation. I know Mr. Clavier's presentation on robotics and technology in agriculture is going to be very entertaining, and that's going to be led by Raejae. So you can see how, as young individuals, we can still get involved in technology within agriculture. So yeah, remain engaged, ask as many questions as you like.
Thank you, Ms. Durand. And continuing to express appreciation, we also appreciate the support of our communications team, Mr. Clavier, Ms. Cooper, Ms. Kent, and Mr. Joseph. And today, Mr. Joseph actually is going to be our presenter this morning, with support, of course, from Mr. Clavier in demonstrating. Yes, Mr. Clavier, good day again, in demonstrating for us technology applications in agriculture. So, Mr. Joseph, if you're ready to go, we're ready to hear from you. Yes, you're on mute, Mr. Joseph.
All right, can you hear me good?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Raejae Joseph. I have been here at the university just over a year now, well, probably a year and a half. My current position is Extension Agent 1, Information Technology. So basically, I deal with all the IT and IT related things here at the University School of Agriculture. And I just want to mention as well that this is actually the first AgDiscovery where we are actually under the title of the School of Agriculture. So I just wanted to point that out. I don't know if that was mentioned last year. We were kind of in the process. of transitioning into the School of Agriculture when AgDiscovery was taking place, but now we are officially under the UVI School of Agriculture. So yes, this is a very historic moment because it's the first time we're having AgDiscovery and we're going under this UVI School of Agriculture. So thank you guys for being here once again. Today we're going to talk about agriculture technology. I do have a PowerPoint presentation that will kind of explain it a little bit, and then we have a little bit of a robotics presentation that we're going to do after that. As you can see here, I have my little robot, so we'll get into that after we do a little bit of, we go through the PowerPoint presentation and just talk a little bit about agriculture technology. As we all know, technology is expanding each and every day. There is all kind of different gadgets and all kind of different things, and in one of the areas where technology expands quite drastically over time is definitely in the area of agriculture. And we have some videos in that PowerPoint as well that will kind of give you a demonstration in terms of the type of technology that are being used and how it's progressing in the area of agriculture. So right now, we're just going to go ahead and pull up that PowerPoint. And we'll go ahead from here. Can you guys see it?
I can.
All right, great. So once again, PowerPoint just basically talking about agriculture technology. Okay, so it says the world population is expected to hit 9 billion by the year 2050. Now, I know that might seem like a long time from now, but honestly, just the other day was 1997 when I was born. So the year 2050 is going to come up pretty quickly, and the population is expected to be 9 billion. We expected that this will cause a dramatic increase in the demand for agricultural production. So definitely with the increase of lives, definitely food will definitely have to increase, obviously, food production. So this has caused for farmers to turn to technology as a possible solution. Now, as we all know, in this current day and age, technology has definitely sped up the process for a lot of things in terms of food production, not just food production, just things in general. Certain ways we used to do things manually. Now we have technological devices that we can use to speed up that process and make those things quicker than how they would usually be done if they were to be done manually. All right, so modern day farms work far differently than those a few decades ago. For the most part, because of these particular advancements in technologies. And right now, what we're going to do, we're going to watch a short little video. If you click on the picture. Oh, you have to. I think you have to. Yeah, and double click on it. Oh, it's not that one. No, probably not. Okay. I'm sorry, that's not the video. Let's go next slide. The video is in the slideshow. Yeah, program slide. Okay. You transition into the next one. All right, as you see here, we have a couple, just a couple pictures for you guys to see. I have a doctor working under a microscope, different things. Okay, so eco-robotics. So powered by the sun, as you can see here, there's a couple solar panels at the top of this robotics machine. Powered by the sun, this fully autonomous drone has the ability to use solar power to run all day. The robot uses its camera system to target and spear weeds. Now, obviously, one of the biggest things that's the reason as to why technology hasn't been so rapidly brought into particular universities, just like the University of the Virgin Islands, is the cost. As you can see here, the cost of this particular robot is $125,000, right? So maybe some bigger universities you know, as UVI is a fairly small university, maybe some bigger universities are already transitioning into particular technologies like this. But in terms of the University of the Virgin Islands, it might take a little more time for us to transition into using certain technologies like this. But I've definitely seen over time, as I was once a student here at the university, that technology has been being brought into the area of agriculture as we progress. But definitely one of the reasons why it hasn't progressed as much as maybe some other areas is definitely the cost. All right, so here we do have our first video, and it might just, yeah, there you go. Oh, stop share. You have to stop share. Go ahead. Go to share screen, and then optimize. Yeah. Okay, play. No. Just you could, yeah. Let's leave it there for now. Okay, so as you guys saw there, that was an agro robot assisting with the process of harvesting strawberries. Now, some of you might think that, oh, with this this agro robot, it might eliminate some possible job opportunities. Now, while that might be the case, it also opens up opportunities for other people. And if you guys might be interested in the area of technology as well as the area of agriculture, this robot in particular will have to be programmed. You can't just buy a particular robot and just bring it, plug it in or turn on the power and expect it to do what you want it to do, right? All these things have to be programmed, they have to be maintained, and things along those lines. So there's definitely job opportunities in terms of dealing with technology in agriculture. And as you can also see, the robot was able to pick the strawberries, but humans were still had to put it into packaging and things like that. So there's definitely different opportunities for different people. It's just a technology being instilled into agriculture is just so that you can kind of speed up the process, so to speak. Not necessarily take away jobs from people, but to get the job done a little bit quicker, so that, like we say, we can increase and maximize the production of food as quickly as possible as we move forward. And here we have another video.
It's time to set the bar higher, to rethink productivity as we know it. It's time to challenge the old assumptions. Success can no longer be defined solely by acres or yield. Your farm has to be as efficient as possible. And greater productivity only comes from putting your land, seed, fertilizer, chemicals, equipment, and manpower to optimal use. At Case IH, We call it high-efficiency farming. To help you achieve this, we constantly rethink every aspect of our equipment solutions, integrating the right innovations to boost your productivity and profitability. We even think of ways to impact your bottom line years from now. That's why we've developed this autonomous concept vehicle. Imagine being able to remotely operate and monitor your equipment via a portable tablet. You could just select a vehicle and send it to the field. Without an operator, the equipment would travel along private, pre-mapped guidance routes. Advanced obstacle detection will enable it to stop and wait for obstacles to clear before continuing on its route. In other cases, it would stop and send you an alert. Using real-time views from onboard cameras, you'll be able to direct the equipment to the best route around the obstacle. The system's software would automatically plot the most efficient in-field paths. And you'd make the most of narrow weather windows and work around the clock when needed, increasing overall productivity. For even greater flexibility, you could go fully autonomous or opt for a cabbed machine with both traditional driving capabilities and automation. This equipment could work in tandem with your current machines or as a fleet. What's more, autonomous equipment would work seamlessly with Case IH advanced farming systems to deliver more control than ever before and allow you to execute field prescriptions and collect the data you need for next season. As a leader in agriculture, Case IH and CNH Industrial bring you the kind of thinking that gives you the power to boost your efficiency today and in the future.
All right, so once again, technology in agriculture is all about being able to maximize the rate of production as to how you are harvesting your crops or even planting them as well. So if you, as you saw in that video, right, some of those wheat fields and corn fields were, I mean, they go for miles and acres, right? As much as some of you might like agriculture, as well as myself, I do enjoy agriculture to an extent. I would absolutely dread having to go out to some of those wheat fields or corn fields and having to harvest those manually, right? So as we journey on into the future, we have more and more technological devices being created, as the one you saw in the video, that are able to harvest crops such as corn and wheat, as well as other things, in a much more effective and efficient manner, rather than having to do it manually. Because once again, nobody wants, especially in this day and age, nobody wants to have to go out to the field and harvest wheat by hand. It's very long and very tiring. As a matter of fact, I also went to Denmark in 2016. It wasn't for an agricultural trip in per se, but while we were there, we went on tour. And I mean, Denmark is somewhere that they really do well in terms of agriculture. And I was able to see some of these wheat fields, and man, you drive for, I mean, 8, 10, 12 miles easily, and it's just wheat alone. So I could only imagine that they quickly introduced certain technological devices in order to harvest that wheat and corn and all these other things that they plant, because having to do that by hand would definitely be a very tiresome process. And as we transition into the robotics now, it was actually good in that video that you were able to see how the machine is able to stop when, for example, a vehicle is coming across the field or something like that. It was good that you guys were able to see that, because part of what the robotics demonstration is being able to detect, let's say, a barrier in the way of the robot, and it being able to not run into that barrier. So as we move into the robotics presentation, we'll be dealing with Lego Mindstorm robot. I like to call this robot the UVI SOA Nexus. And before we get into this demonstrating this particular robot, we do have a video that Mr. Clavier is going to go ahead and show.
With the Mindstorms, children learn by discovery.
There's no doubt that it touches on science, on maths, on technology, and on IT. Yeah! You could bring in some other areas of perhaps not so academic, certainly teamwork skills and creativity. It's incredibly creative.
Can, practically stand back and let the child do it themselves. It's very rewarding as a teacher, seeing them enjoy themselves, seeing them get results that they're happy with, and seeing them just build things that they want to build.
All right, guys, so that was a little bit of an introduction into the Lego Mindstorms. And here we have what we call, once again, the UVI SOA Nexus robot. I just want to point out there's a couple of sensors on this robot. Up here we have the ultrasonic sensor. So basically it's like the eyes, more or less, so that the robot can basically see where it's going. And then we also have the sound sensor, which is here to detect sound, right? So as we one second here, my sound sensor came up. All right, here we go. All right, so as you saw in the presentation, there was some programming that had to be done in order to make the robot, or basically tell the robot to do what you want it to do in particular. Now, we have already pre-installed some programming features on the robot for the essence of time, in a sense, because sometimes programming can take long, especially when you're doing the robot and building it from scratch, right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to demonstrate one of the software programs that we installed on the robot, and basically it's a program that tells the robot when it reaches a certain distance close enough to a particular object that's in its way, reverse basically and turn away from that object. So basically what the robot is going to try to do is going to try to go forward without hitting anything in its way. So if it runs into a particular thing or starts to get close to a particular object that's in its way, it's going to come back a little bit, it's going to turn, and then it's going to continue moving in a forward direction. So I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate that now. I'm actually going to call the one of the 4-Hers that's in here, and I'm going to have him stand. And as I turn on the robot, so there's a few buttons on the robot here as well. I mean, I know it's a little bit hard to see, but the power button, basically it's in orange. And then it's pretty easy to navigate as well. You once you turn on the power, it takes you straight to the software files area, and then you would go to select the files and basically pick the particular file that you want to use. All right. So I'm going to go here and select the particular file that we want to use. And then I'm going to tell the robot to run. And what's your name, sorry? Jamal. Joel? Jamal. Jamal. All right, and Jamal is right here with me. He's just going to stand in the way of the robot, and you will see that the robot will never hit him or anything that's in its path. Okay, one second. How about you move it back more so they can see it from like right here? Yeah. Okay. I have to move behind. That's what happened. What? Unfortunately, the robot is not hitting anything, but it's okay. It's gonna come back up eventually. I think. No, it's gonna bother me. Let's go back. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so it was a little bit hard to see because of how the sensor is placed. So it's only detecting things in a higher area rather than in a lower area. Okay.
Talk a little bit about so both of you be on opposite sides so that it goes on.
Okay. All right, so we're going to try to demonstrate some development habits. This one. Yeah, this one. You can see it better. Object. All right. Just keep it on. Okay. So as you can see, the ultrasonic sensor is detecting my hand, basically seeing my hand, and it's telling the robot that that is an obstacle in its way and it needs to turn away from that obstacle. Alright?
I think we could do a quick as well. Like,
I have- Quick
Yeah, and you can do it very, very quickly. Right?
But the program is like, it moves always this way.
Yeah. So, as Joel is saying right now, right, the program that we have set is that it makes a left turn every time it senses every time it senses an obstacle is in its way. Right? Now there are endless amount of coding and programming that can be done for this robot. Right, in terms of the way it turns when it senses an obstacle, in terms of how close it is to get to that obstacle before it turns, in terms of there's distance, there's all kind of different codes that you can program the robot to do. Right, it's not just one particular program, and like I said, sometimes it could take quite a while for you to do the exact set up the exact program that you want. As you saw in the video as well, there's different sensors and arms and different things that the robot can do as well. But for today, this was just a demonstration that we were planning to show you guys in terms of the robotics, right? And as you saw once again in the agricultural video that was shown previously, the machine basically has a similar sensor because there's nobody that's driving it, right? It's a self-driven machine. So it also has a particular sensor in that machine that lets it know when an obstacle is in its way and how to get around a particular obstacle and things like that. So at this time, I will take any questions.
I have a question, Raejae.
All right.
What kind of how does the sensor actually work? Is it using like a change in light, or is it using like waves of some sort? Like, how is it able to detect that an object is in its way?
So I think it uses waves like you mentioned. It's an ultrasonic sensor, right? So basically the eyes basically to call it for the robot. It uses waves to detect any object or obstacle that's near it. So once it gets close, and once again, this comes with the programming side of things. Because you could tell it once it gets to within 5 feet, or once it gets into within 10 feet even, right? Then you would program it to say, okay, go 3 feet back and turn to the left and proceed forward, right? So all of that is a part of the programming process. Now, once again, the robot, once again, with the correct programming, the robot will do anything that you want it to do, right? So once again, like I said, it may detect it from 10 inches, it may detect it from 10 feet. It's just all about how you program it and what you program it to do. I hope that kind of answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you. So does any of the participants have questions? You could raise your hand or just unmute yourself.
Oh, what's the name of the sensor again? The name of the sensor is, oh no, never mind. That's actually some a direct message that I sent to Mr. Clavier. Any questions? Any questions? No questions? When I don't hear any questions, that means that my presentation was rather terrific and well detailed and well.
What would the cost be of one of the robots?
Very self-explanatory. So,
how much would a robot like that cost?
A robot like this? I mean, it definitely ranges. Honestly, this robot was here before I started working at UVI. So I don't know the particular cost of this robot in particular, but we are trying to transition into getting some new robots. And obviously now that I'm on board, I'd definitely like to get some so that we could get something more up to date in terms of the programming software and all these other things. Because actually, another problem that we ran into for this presentation is this robot was made when Windows Vista and Windows XP was still a thing. So so we tried to get some new robots in. So obviously that are first of all compatible with Windows 10 in terms of the software that it uses in order to program the robots to do all that you wanted to do. Question?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was about to ask. How many chore you planning to get, one robot at a time? Like right now, I see you have one chore, which is.
Oh, okay.
Repeat the question, Raejae. Please repeat the question.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so the question is, how many programs are you able to install, right, on a robot? So this one, obviously, the one that I demonstrated to you guys was just one particular program, right? But every robot can have multiple files on it. I don't know if there's a limit, and I'm not sure what the limit is, but they could have multiple files on it. There's more than one file on it right now. I just wanted to show you guys the one that I did myself. Actually, Mr. Clavier and myself, we did it last year. So I wanted to show you guys that one because it's probably like I said, it's the one we did. There's also pre-installed programs that come on the robot as well, but those are just basic, like go forward or go backward or turn, things like that. Yeah, so I'm not sure if there's a limit, but multiple files can be added to a particular robot at a time.
It's to note that the program is done on the computer, and so we have infinite storage on the computer, basically, that you could save a bunch of files and then you download it to the NXT, which is the brick, we call it, that will get the programming. And so once it could hold a number of files. I'm like Raejae, I never really check because normally we download the file and we run the program. And so your computer can have hundreds of different programs. And then when you need to use a particular program, you just download it to the NXT and run it. And so that's normally how we do it. So yeah, it could hold a whole lot of programs, but we just do them one at a time. But I think it has like maybe 5 to 7 of them that I have loaded onto one particular robot at a time.
Thank you.
And the cost of the NXT 2.0, that one is the 1.0, is about $700. It depends on how much accessories. You could get one for $500. The kit, right up to about $800. It really depends on what you want within the NXT.
Does it make breakfast?
I believe Raejae could do that, program it to do that.
Make my coffee.
Yes, I've actually, one time I actually programmed it to go get me a bottle of water, and didn't work out quite well, but I'm working on it. Breakfast is the next phase.
I do have a question. So at Purdue's campus, there is like these robots that deliver food now, and they kind of go on a GPS pattern, and they even have the sensors that you have like for motion detection, but they stop at like crosswalks. So I don't know, like if you can put that kind of technology in that robot as well, or is it like more sensors needed and navigation and stuff like that? Is that needed for that?
Yeah, I'm not sure that this particular robot would be able to stop at like a crosswalk, considering the fact that I think it needs like a object that's preventing it from crossing. So if it was going across a crosswalk and maybe a car came across, it would be able to stop. but stop from crossing, I don't think so, because there's nothing really in front of it. It's just a crosswalk. So this particular robot, like I said, that's why we need to that's why we have been trying to get more up-to-date robots, because I'm sure some of those more up-to-date robots can do those particular things that you're talking about. That's pretty cool though.
And I want to add to this, what you said, like explain it further.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys, what? Let me see myself.
Just come here.
Okay, can you guys hear me? So
Yes.
I go to college in Arizona State University, and we have that same robot that you're talking about. We call it the Starship. And I'm a mechanical engineering student, so I had an opportunity to work with them. And how they work is they don't have a sensor that senses the crosswalk. They have like a map navigation of the school. So they it would have an area when it reaches the crosswalk, it knows this is the crosswalk area. And then what it would do is it would move its camera to look at the crosswalk sign. And when the camera would switch from being red to green is when it would cross. If it doesn't have one, then what it does is it opts to looking around in its environment to see if there's any people. And when the people cross, they would cross with the people. Those are the two ways that it works. It's not the best, but it's what they have so far. But it's called Starship. It delivers food, as you say, and they have cameras and sensors to detect people. But for crosswalks, it has a navigation system like Google Maps. Google Maps tells it, okay, crosswalk here, do this and this and this. That's how it works.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that I went to college a little too soon, because in my time, I didn't have robots that used to deliver me food. So now I might be considering to go back maybe for my master's and also a doctorate. You know.
I have a question. I wonder, after you make that whole work of creating the robot in any program, do you have to trademark the results so you can even publicize it or maybe commercialize it?
Okay, I'm going to turn this question over to Mr. Clavier. I don't know if did you hear it?
No, I did not.
Okay, she was saying that after you program. Okay, the question is going to be posted in the chat.
Okay, let's go ahead and ask it though. In the meantime, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I mean, they said. Actually, you can go ahead and ask it again if you want.
Yeah, I was saying, after you do all that work to program the robot and sometimes multiple programs and you have an end result, if you want to commercialize and make it available to people, and do you have to trademark that robot?
The NXT, it's more for us to teach and to learn and those kinds of things. If you really come up with something grand, but it's not, it's teaching college students, high school students, mainly just some of the basic features in terms of sensors, those kinds of things. It has a lot of limitation. That's why we're asking about the food and delivering. It doesn't have GPS and all of those fancy things in the NXT 1 or 2. And then they're having this other one called the EV3 that I'm looking at as well. But I'm not, if you did something really grand, yes, I guess you can do that. But we've never seen something in that area where we would trademark and then actually be able, and the robot itself was made by Lego. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but I can't think of it right now in terms of what we might be able to program it to do. But we would have to come up with your own robot, I would imagine, and then program it, trademark it, and then you could sell that robot and the programming and everything. Or maybe you could trademark the program alone to get something done. But like I said, these things are very basic and can do very basic kind of demonstration. Like we would create a field, a plot, I would say, agricultural plot, and then we would make the robot into a tractor, and we would see how you clear the field, how much amount of time, like how they were doing it in the video that Raejae showed, but we would do it indoors. We would use Lego pieces, we would do things like that. So it's more of a demonstration to get people to understand how we could do it in the real scale, but I can't think of any application where we actually could utilize it for real life, but it's more indoors, kind of just demonstration.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Any more questions?
How long does programming it usually take? Because I know, like, depending on how intricate you want the programming to be, but like, how long would it take for like a harder task?
Takes a while.
Well, well, for example, in the particular demonstration that Mr. Clavier was talking about, having it go through like an obstacle course and things like that, it doesn't take that long. For example, telling the robot to do basic things like turn right, turn left, that's very, very simple task for it. But then when you get into like the nitty-gritty of, okay, we need to get through a particular obstacle course and things like that, it might take a little bit more time. Off the top of my head, I could maybe say, like, if you wanted to get through, let's say, a particular obstacle course, it might take maybe an hour or maybe a little, it might take that long to really program, especially this one, right? Because this is like you said, it's like a basic robot used more for like demonstrations and things like that. So it doesn't take that long to really program, especially this one, like I said. Others, it might take much longer.
Yeah, and I would say it really depends on the what you want to do. But for the basic stuff like Mr. Joseph is talking about, it's not very long. It's programming bricks. It's not actual code like typing in words. Let me see if I could share what the programming would look like. So everybody can see my screen? This would be like a programming program. It has a different blocks, so it's not text based, it's more picture based. And so this is a loop right here that's doing, I can't see exactly what loop that is, but that's a loop. This is a touch sensor. I think this is the ultrasonic sensor. This is the forward, I believe, motion. This is the sound sensors here. And so, and you have one Lego, I forgot what they call this again, a programming line, I think is what they call it. And then there's a second one here that goes into some other loops. And these are some other things that you could program. And when you get into these, it can take a while to program these kinds, but for the one that's the vehicle, it doesn't take as long. Hopefully that helps.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, not hearing anyone. I hope that this presentation today was very, eye-catching, eye-grabbing. Hopefully some of you, if you were maybe a little bit already interested in the area of technology and agriculture, might be a little bit more interested in it, because definitely, even before I started working at UVI, technology was something that I enjoyed working with. And obviously being on an island as well, agriculture is all around you. So combining the two is definitely something that at first I wouldn't say I was definitely like, oh, I want to combine technology and agriculture, but being a part of it now with my job, I really enjoy what I do and things like that. So yeah, I hope some of you are very much interested in finding out some more about this as well. And that's it from me. So thank you, everyone. And I will turn it back over to, I guess, Dr. Peterson or Dara, or whoever it is who will take it from here.
I'll take it, Raejae. Thank you. So everyone, let's come back and give Raejae a huge round of applause and thank him for his presentation. So we have a little bit more time. Oh yes, can't forget the poll. So we're gonna do the poll. And then once the poll is done, I have a couple announcements and then we'll break for lunch. So whenever you're ready, Dara.
So feel free to share your comments also about the presentation for Mr. Joseph verbally, although you're doing it here in the poll. And Raejae, I could already tell you, it seems like your presentation was excellent just based on what the poll is showing. So I must concur. Great job. Very clear. I don't want to program it, but I would love for it to program some things for me. And so good stuff. Let me know when you find the one that makes breakfast though, because that'll be the one.
Yeah, I actually remember I worked with NetLogo on robotics, which was a program through UVI, I think when I was in junior high, I believe. I can't remember. But I think for the robots we use like light or color sensors, and we put like tape on the ground, and we like raced our robots, and when they would get to like the colored tape, they'd like turn around and go back the other way and do all kind of stuff. So if you're really interested, it's easy to use. So if you guys are ever interested, definitely look into that.
Yeah, that one sounds like the one that might be able to notice the sidewalk because of the change in color with the yellow. But I guess it depends. All right, so we have 10 out of 12. Are there 10 total students? Is that what we're working with? Or do we have 2 more? Tahira, are there 10 that we should be expecting? I think so.
It should be 10.
I think it should be 10, right? Because otherwise we have Dr. Awika and Dr. Benoit.
Right.
So I think that's it. Dr. Awika and Dr. Benoit, were you all doing the poll, or can I go ahead and close this?
I did mine already.
Okay, you did yours already. So then, so then that means there should be one more student then. Thank you.
And I did as well.
And you did as well. So that means that there are 2 more students. See, assumptions.
You guys complete the poll. It's very important for our presenters as well, because you guys are helping them to optimize their presentations, make it more enjoyable, not just for you guys, but for years to come. So please give as much feedback as you possibly can. And feel free to also give comments out loud, as Dara mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and if you're having a trouble with seeing the poll, please let us know that as well. So is anyone having trouble with doing the poll, with seeing the poll? And let's get some reactions now. For those of you who already did the poll, could you raise your hands or put up your yes? Which one lasts longer? I don't remember right now.
Raised hands probably last longer.
Raised hands last longer? Yes, they do. Yes, you're right. So if you could just raise your hand for me. And that way I'll be able to see who is remaining, but we don't want to spend much more time on this. So did we go through the how to raise your hand? Oh, here you are. Y'all are up there. Okay. And counselors, if you could keep an eye and see who has or hasn't, we'll actually verify that a little later as well. Let's let you go ahead and move on. We have 5 raised hands, but obviously there are more than 5.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know how to raise your hand, I think Matthew is like actually raising his hand. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there's
you could do that
too, right?
If you're having trouble using like the raise hand feature and your camera is on, feel free to raise your hand and just leave it up there for us.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think we can move forward, and we have 8 out of 10. We'll roll with that. So you can keep moving. We see who has and hasn't. All right. Thank you. You could go ahead and put your hands down now. I'm going to end the poll.
Okay, so I have a question for our participants. If you guys could design a robot to do something in agriculture, be it on a large scale or maybe even in a garden within your home, what's something you would want to design your robot to do?
Okay, so this
Well,
is
I was just making you.
some
Sorry.
things that I really want happen. So basically, whenever you like plant a crop or like flowers or like vegetables, you know how usually like some bugs like they just like eat the leaf or something. So like I can create like a robot that can like put like a formula on top of it, the plant that won't harm it but would keep away the bugs or something.
You know, I actually feel, I don't know if Dr. Peterson could comment on this, but I feel like there's already some automated systems in place for larger fields where they could like spray different pesticides, hopefully natural pesticides,
Yeah.
pesticides on the crops. So, or maybe even Dr. or Miss Benoit, if she could comment on that.
I was taking a call. I didn't hear the question.
Also, Azima said something she'd want to design. An agriculture-related robot would be something that could dispense liquids on her plants to protect them from pests. So I was saying, I believe there are already some like automated machines that do that for large-scale agriculture, but I wanted you guys to confirm.
That is accurate. There are sprayers that have already been designed that do a very efficient job of spraying fields as we speak. So I'm sure there might be some smaller scale ones, or it might be easy to go from large to small. So that can be easily done, and it's done already on some scale. That's correct.
Yeah, anybody else? Any agriculture related products you'd want to design?
A robot that can weed, because God, it's annoying. I'm sure something to an extent probably exists, but still.
Oh, we got a funny one in the chat. So Majestic actually said she'd want to design a scarecrow that's almost alive and it's moving. And she said specifically for iguanas, because I guess she hates iguanas.
That's a good one.
It's interesting.
Anyone else? No, I know me personally, I would want to design one that could like somehow test the quality of mangoes to get them at the perfect peak of ripeness and automatically just pick them for me. So every time I have a mango, I know it's gonna be perfect. And I don't like them too sweet. I don't like them too soft. They have to be firm, but nice and orange on the inside. So that would take some I don't know what sensors I would use, but some very intricate sensors.
I can tell you like mangoes, huh?
I do, and since I came back, I haven't had a chance to have one yet, but it's on my list of things to do. Okay, if there's no more innovations, I want to thank you guys for joining us for our presentation. Again, give Raejae a huge round of applause. And remember that Raejae is actually part of our comm team. So if there's any questions that you have for him, not just related to the robotics, but any comm related questions, always feel free to reach out to him and ask for his help. Yes, Dara, I don't know if you want to sign out of live before we get into the nitty gritty of the remainder of today's program.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my mic on the headset went bad. I just wanted to share quickly, if I may, the actual one of the kits, and this is the EV3, and this is the cost. It's a little cheaper than NX2, but this is what you get. This is the different sensors, and you have to build it. I was just looking, and I'm getting excited. I always tell people, when I first started working like Raejae, I got the NXT, the previous one before this. That's the second version we have. And I was always commenting that I get paid to play because I was playing with robots and Legos. But this is exciting for me. I've never built something like this, but the new ones look like you could build a robotic arm, conveyor belt. Well, this one just looks fun. And something like a conveyor belt. And so it keeps evolving and changing, and there's so much to do with these things, and then trying to get it to a large scale to do something in the real world is exciting. So just wanted to share that with you guys.
All right, so thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for anyone who was watching on the live stream. We hope you guys learned something interesting today, because I know that I did. And just as a reminder, today we're going to be going out to Farm in a Pod for our on the ground presentation, something that I'm looking forward to. And it gives a very new perspective on how you could use small spaces to grow crops and even have kind of indoor farms. So I think this will be something really exciting for you guys. But yes, at this time, I'm not sure, Dr. Peterson, if you have any last minute words or words to close us out.
I am just saying thankful as well as you to our presenter, Mr. Raejae this morning, Mr. Joseph, and Mr. Clavier for support. And the name I forgot of our 4-H'er who also presented. That was a very eloquent explanation to the question asked. So all of you, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Also to our,
sorry, I was just gonna say the 4-H's name was Joel. I mean Jamal. Sorry, I
Jamal.
forgot his last name. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for allowing me to present, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
We did. Thank you. Yes, Jamal, thank you very much. And all of you, our students, for being such a good audience, thank you as well. This afternoon, as was said already, we're going to be visiting the Farm Pod. And this will give you another perspective of technology application in agriculture. While you are visiting the Farm Pod, think of what Mr. Joseph said earlier with respect to our growing population and the need to produce more food on less footprint. So this demonstration this afternoon is going to show you exactly what it takes to produce on a small footprint and maximize the production system. So what we need to do is to maximize the resources that we do have, reduce that production cost, increase yield, and feed the entire world. So we look forward to that this afternoon. Thank you again, everyone, for being here with us this morning. See you at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.